I'll like eat really responsible for 3, 5 days, I don't know, and then I'm like, I can't do this anymore, and then I absolutely just go hog wild, and then
This is the real Brently G. This is Brentley being 100% honest and transparent. Coach Greg, in today's video, an update on Brently G. The guy had been doing amazing. He'd been dropping weight faster than last time. He was literally losing a pound a day, got down to 443 pounds, but then suddenly things went wrong. His weight crept up. He gained 7 pounds after walking 13 kilometers. And so I reached out to him, we had a little chat, and discovered exactly what it was that he was doing wrong.
I thought I was being responsible. I thought I could, dole something out that was responsible to eat at Mexi's, and I ate it.
And so what I do think is happening is that Brently G is lying to himself. He was on an overly restrictive diet. Guy was eating a couple sandwiches with a couple eggs and some butter, then having a small snack, drinking some collagen protein, then having another small meal, and then for supper was having only a half portion of what his regular dinner was. But then he cut it out completely. And did it work? Yep, absolutely. Of course it did. It's calories in, calories out. He was losing 1 pound per day on average. But how long can that last? How long do you think that that's sustainable?
So I'm walking quite a long distance. I'm going to have a burrito and some fries. I woke up in the morning. I was up quite a lot of weight. And I was like, what the hell?
He's not telling you everything. He's not saying that what's happening is he's starving himself for perhaps 4 or 5 days of the week and then binging on the weekends. Once you lose your willpower, it's very hard to stop the floodgates. And so how many of you have been there before? You're doing amazing, you're sticking to the diet all week. Then suddenly the weekend comes and you go crazy. You binge. And you notice you gain 7 pounds in one day. Do you really think that gaining 7 pounds come from eating a little bit too much at a restaurant? After all, he just walked 13 kilometers. He weighs over 440 pounds. Imagine the calories he's burning. And so there's no way you're gaining 7 pounds when you're doing that amount of cardio from just one small cheat at a restaurant. But if you cheat all day, all weekend, then absolutely.
I think where I went wrong was that thing from Mexi's sort of was that big 1,000-calorie supper. I don't know how many calories are in it, but it could have been 2,000.
And so think of it. He was skipping supper, then suddenly had a 1,000, maybe 2,000 calorie supper. Do you really think that that's enough to gain 7 pounds? Of course not. And so perhaps Brentley is not saying exactly what he's eating. You have to be honest with yourself. Are you actually tracking calories? Because as you know, it's calories in, calories out. If you're losing a pound a day and it's actually fat, you need to be in a 3,500 calorie daily deficit. That is a lot. That is an extreme amount.
I don't want to stop going to restaurants altogether, but I think toning it down would definitely be a good thing. I mean, I already don't go to restaurants very often. I mean, maybe every 3 weeks.
And so listen, the reason his weight started to go up is not because he goes to a restaurant once every 3 weeks. He's not going very often. And yes, it's true, restaurants, bakeries, they don't care about the calorie content in the food they're making. But you can't blame it on other people. You have to take ownership on yourself. Remember, it's Coach Greg. I tell you what I think. And I do not believe that he's being 100% transparent with what he's eating. If he were to make a video saying what he ate in a week and tracked everything and told us what he ate, if he gained 5 pounds in a week, he's not in a deficit. It's not some restaurant that put in too many calories he ate there once in that entire week. It's the fact he's eating more calories than he's burning off. You should not be trying to lose 1 pound per day. That makes no sense. Destined to fail.
It was good, 140 pounds in 7 months, but also I failed after 7 months, went back up, so I was really strict.
And so think of it, previously he ate 1,200 calories a day for 7 months and lost 140 pounds. But how did that turn out for him? He literally gained all that weight and then some. And so I've been trying to tell Brentley to stick to a diet that he can follow for the rest of his life. Not temporary, not for right now, something that makes sense and keeps him full. But I've watched his full day of eating, of which I'm going to get into in a second, and it's just not realistic. It doesn't make sense. And although he has the cookbook, perhaps he doesn't have the time to make these meals. But how does he have the time not to make these meals? I'm just telling it like it is. If you're eating a diet that's full of bread, that has hardly any fruits and vegetables, and you're not full, how could you possibly stick to it?
I'm starting out first thing with my HTLT subs, pre-workout. I take it every single morning.
And so first thing in the morning, he gets up and takes a scoop of pre-workout 2.0. He goes to the gym or does his cardio, and so that is amazing. However, look at his first meal.
I'm up here in the fridge, gonna make my egg sandwiches.
It's just eggs, margarine, salt and pepper on toast. That's the whole thing.
Problem is, how much protein is he getting? he's having 2 eggs, margarine, toast. Does that sound like a high protein breakfast? Remember, he's 440 plus pounds. And so although a lot of that is body fat, he has well over 200 pounds of lean tissue. And so although I don't think he needs to eat 440 grams of protein, he should be having at least 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight, of which he's probably somewhere in the 200. So he needs at least 200 plus grams of protein. And so for breakfast, after doing cardio, lifting weights, not even 30 grams of protein. That is not enough. And where are the fruits and vegetables? Where is the fiber? And so a very unsatiating meal one. It's a schmuck serving, and so this is not going to make him full.
It's sort of a meal prep thing. It's not too bad. 400, maybe 500 calories.
4 slices of bread, 2 eggs, and a bunch of margarine, and he thinks it's somewhere between 300 and 400 calories, when in reality it's closer to 600 calories. I know it's shocking, but do you know how much calories are in margarine? It's a lot. And so what could he do? Well, first things first, I'd get rid of margarine, or at least use light margarine. And where are the vegetables? Where are the fruit?
That's the whole morning sandwiches. You know, I worked out, I went up, I made these. They're about 500 calories for both of them. And yeah, it's real good, you know?
And so imagine if he had more egg whites. Perhaps he had 6 more egg whites added into that sandwich. And on the side, perhaps he could eat some fruit. Watermelon, apples, grapes, you name it. It would give him a much more colorful and healthy breakfast. And it would give him the protein that he needs to build muscle. And remember, eating like this, not going to be very satiating. It's a lot of bread. It's very high calorie dense foods. And so this is not the thing that someone would want to eat if they're trying to lose weight.
I don't have my lunch until 2 p.m. just to, spread out my meals a little more. And I find I'm not hungry for lunch at 12.
And he says he's not hungry for lunch. But remember, this hunger, it's eventually going to get to him. And ask yourself this, how is it working for you? And if after a month you're struggling to get back down to the weight you once were, you have to conclude the diet, it's not working.
There's like protein and good stuff in this collagen, it's good stuff for building muscle.
So he has the collagen protein for lunch, which is amazing. There's plenty of protein, but what else is he eating? Remember, he's already exercised.
It's 227. I'm having 2 canned ham sandwiches. I don't know exactly how many calories in it. I think there's like a lot of calories in the ham.
And so the problem is he doesn't understand about nutrition. And that is one of the biggest problems for most people struggling to lose weight in the entire world. People don't know better. He's having 4 more slices of bread, a lot of calories, and notice, no fruits and vegetables, and no fiber to help slow the digestion of these nutrients.
And then they're toasted and they're good, and I like them.
And so, yeah, he likes them. It's good. I like chips. I like ice cream. But doesn't mean it's good for me. And if you really want to be proactive with your health, you have to start eating healthy. I know that we think we can out-exercise a bad diet, and that if we just eat in a deficit, we're going to lose weight. And technically, we would be right. Problem is, how long can you be in that deficit? And for Brentley, not long enough. Not long enough.
I'm going to do a fruit salad, a fruit tray mukbang, and that's going to be my supper, I think.
And so let's examine what he ate for protein throughout this day. He had 2 whole eggs for breakfast, had 1 scoop of collagen protein, then he had some canned ham, and for supper, fruit. Not high in protein. And so if you examine his diet, it seems to be very low in calories. I would say far below 2,000 and also under 100 grams of protein. And so his protein not nearly enough and his calories very low. And so how is it possible that he's gaining weight? Really think of it. Do you really think that Brentley is eating under 2,000 calories 7 days a week? Of course not. He's over 440 pounds. He's doing cardio. He's lifting weights. We saw him go for a 13-kilometer walk. Remember, he's over 440 pounds. Do you know how many calories he's burning walking that far? A lot. More than double what the average person would burn. And so do you really think that his body just doesn't burn calories? That his metabolism is so slow that even when he's eating under 2,000 calories, that his body just doesn't lose weight? Absolutely not. I would say he's probably eating well over 4,000 to 5,000 calories at least a couple days a week, and that's overcompensating from the days when he's in a deficit. And so how could he possibly have the willpower to follow a diet this restrictive? No one could do it, perhaps for a little while, but then what happens is you cave. And eventually you cave, you cheat on your diet, and you regain all that weight.
A lot of calories in fruit, but not as much as if it had been candy. Like, not as good as if it had been vegetables or a salad. But it is better than if it had been a lasagna.
And so what I wish could happen is that Brentley could actually use this cookbook. He said, the calories are lower in fruit than, for example, in a lasagna, but yet he's literally eaten my low-calorie lasagna that's in the cookbook. The cookbook, it will work. But if you don't actually eat the meals in it, it's not going to do anything. He's eating multiple sandwiches a day and a fruit tray, and then suddenly he can't follow his diet. He's too hungry, and eventually he caves, cheats, and eats whatever. We don't know exactly what he's eating, but what we do know is that you cannot break the laws of thermodynamics.
In this house, we obey the laws of thermodynamics.
And so Brentley has read the subscribers' comments. He's not too proud to admit that he doesn't understand this, and he's listening to people's advice. Not just my own, but other people who are writing in the comment section. And so this is amazing. And so he says to me, he's reached a fork in the road and he believes he's making the right decision. And so he's decided he's now going to try a high protein, low carb diet. Well, I've reached sort of a fork in the road and I think I'm making the right decision. It's only day one right now, but the important thing is I didn't backtrack. I'm going to commit hard with capital H-A-R-D to high protein, low carbs. The comments were right. I need to ditch the bread or at least tone it down. I didn't have the egg sandwiches this morning and focus more on meat and eggs.
What's going on right now is I'm switching to a more high protein, low carb thing.
And so I 100% believe that this is going to help him. He wasn't eating enough protein, and so if he eats less bread in favor of more protein, it's immediately going to help him to burn more calories. Remember, it takes more energy to digest protein than it does to digest carbs. And so even at the same calorie intake, he's going to actually burn off more calories if more of his calories are coming from protein. Carbs, for example, bread can be a trigger food for many people. What that means is once you start eating it, you have a hard time putting the fork down. You perhaps started eating those crackers, chips, pretzels, and so on, and suddenly you notice you're eating the entire bag. In comparison, if you're eating eggs or chicken or steak, it's a lot easier to stop eating it. Not many people say, I blew my diet, I just couldn't stop, I ate 15 chicken breasts in a row. Hardly ever does that happen. But very often people say, I ate the entire pizza, I ate all the cookies and all the ice cream.
Like, I was eating less carbs than I was before, but that was like, I'm comparing myself to like when I was an absolute animal, you know?
And so although he's eating less carbs than he was before, he's still eating quite a bit. Remember, he used to weigh over 570 pounds, and on the rise to get that weight, he was eating a lot. But since that time, he's now in the 440s. He's lost 130 pounds.
Now I'm realizing that I have to continually shrink down, what I'm eating, continually make progress and make changes.
And so here's the thing. If you don't know how many calories are in the foods that you're eating, how do you know you're going to be in a deficit? It's very important to track your calories. And so if you don't know how many calories are in that chimichanga, it's important to find out. Every recipe in here says exactly how many calories are in it. You just make the recipe, it tells you the calories. Remember, the recipes are simple. They are in fact easy. A few of them are harder, but many of them are so easy, anyone could make it. Very, very easy. But of course, it's not as easy as just ordering out. But if you're actually proactive with your health, if you actually care about living longer than last time, you're going to put in the work. Some of that work is, in fact, going to the gym, perhaps going for a walk, doing cardio, lifting weights.
Yesterday, I had chimichanga, just a single chimichanga.
But another aspect is learning how to eat. You can't just eat whatever you want. Oh, I'm having a chimichanga. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to eat a chimichanga for breakfast. I don't even know what that is. I don't know how many calories are in that. And so how can you just put that in your plate and hope for the best? If you're making smart and intelligent choices the majority of the time, you probably don't need to track calories. But until you understand nutrition, I highly and strongly recommend that you track the calories in the foods that you're eating. That will allow you to make educated and informed decisions. If you notice the chimichanga had, for example, 700 calories, and another meal option, perhaps it was pancakes at 400 calories, you'd say, maybe I should eat the pancakes instead of the chimichanga.
Had a tortilla, so I don't know, that's probably the same amount as, 2 slices of bread, but still less carbs overall.
And so one thing that's important to note, it's not just less carbs or more fat. You can't just say I'm on a low carb diet, but increase your calories. And so for example, if you go from eating 2,000 calories a day high carb to 3,000 calories a day low carb, you're not going to lose more weight by eating the low carb diet. At the end of the day, it's still calories in, calories out. And so don't think that just because something's low carb or it says keto on it, that you can eat as much of it as you want. Please, please remember that.
For lunch, I really only had boba tea. I went there with Jeffrey. And then for supper, I had just another chimichanga because there was one left in the fridge.
It's frustrating. Because I know he could lose the weight. I know that by having simple changes, he would lose this weight. I know if somehow we magically switch bodies, we're both peeing in a pond, something happens, and I'm living in Brentley's body and he's living in mine, and then I went in his body and started bike racing, lifting weights, and eating from my cookbook, while he ate chimichangas and did what he does in my body, that I would start to gain weight and he would start to lose weight. And so I do know that with knowledge comes power. The power to lose weight. And speaking of power, the Power 13 cookbook, it's still available on the website, as well as cookbook 3.0, 2.0, the original. You can get all these books on my website. And imagine just what you can do with these books. It's knowledge, and with knowledge comes power, the power to lose weight.
It was the high protein, lower carbs overall in general. I woke up this morning down 1.5 pounds. So
now, personally, I don't think he ate a lot of protein. I don't know exactly what's in a chimichanga, but he also doesn't know how many calories he ate. And is losing 1.5 pounds a day good? Well, it depends. It could have been water. We don't know. But what matters is, can he stick to this diet for the rest of his life?
But I put the 2 eggs on one sandwich, and then I just had the one. But also, I added bacon.
It's very frustrating for me because I know just how easy this could be, but he's not actually listening to what the information is. And so he says, here's what I did. Instead of having 2 sandwiches, I had 1. I put both eggs on the sandwich and I didn't eat the other bread. And I was thinking, yeah, there we go. This makes sense. This is awesome. And then on the side of that, maybe you could have some fruits and vegetables. Perhaps you could have a salad. Come up with some protein, maybe some chicken on the side, whatever. But instead, no, he puts on bacon into the sandwich. Bacon, because, well, he's trying to eat protein. He wants to eat low carb. And so he kind of has the mentality that he's eating on a keto diet, or that somehow carbs are bad. Carbs are not inherently bad. And if you switch up 2 of the 4 slices of bread and have bacon as a replacement, it's not going to make a lick of difference. In fact, it's probably going to make it worse. Bacon is a very high calorie dense food. It's loaded in fat and it's not high in protein. If we're trying to find high protein foods, we're not going to start having chimichangas and bacon. This is not the way. It's simply not healthy.
If we're going for a high protein thing and bacon's the only meat we have in the fridge, right? Bacon and eggs, that's like a solid good breakfast for like getting that protein in. So
he said previously he was out doing errands. He was driving his car around. Why not go to the grocery store and buy some lean meat? Some yogurt, Greek yogurt, some milk, some foods that have a lot of protein but that are not high in fat. What matters is that it's low in calories.
All I've had today is that egg and bacon sandwich, and then I had some greens from HTLT Subs.
And so at least he had the greens from Harder Than Last Time supplements. But remember, this is not the answer. This is not the cure to help you to lose weight. This is going to help you to get vitamins and minerals from the fruits that you're supposed to be eating. And so it's now 1 o'clock and he hasn't eaten anything since then. Don't think that's good. You need to give your body the energy and the protein it needs to continue to build muscle. If you starve yourself and start going too long between eating periods, or you're only eating 1,200 calories a day, for example, what's going to happen? Yeah, you're going to lose weight. Remember, you lost 140 pounds in 7 months, but you regained all the weight and then some. And so it's not a race. You don't need to lose 1 pound or 1.5 pounds a day. All you need, for example, is a 500 calorie daily deficit. You're going to lose 1 pound of fat a week. That is 50 pounds in a year. This should be remarkably easy for you to accomplish. With small, basic changes, with some basic nutritional knowledge, this would be easy.
Pretty taste, and it's got all the vitamins and minerals you need for a good day. So yeah, I don't know how many calories are in that.
And so he doesn't know how many calories are in there, but it's listed at the top. There's 26.5 quality calories. Remember, don't worry about the 26 extra calories. These are healthy calories that you should be consuming. If you're not having your fruits and vegetables, please consider picking up our green supplement. It's more important than last time.
Collagen, really great. I strongly recommend the chocolate milkshake. Collagen, oh my God. Great thing to have in the middle of the day.
And so imagine this. He has the egg sandwich, but removes the bacon. Perhaps adds some tomatoes, some lettuce, some onions, something to that extent. And on the side has some watermelon, blueberries, raspberries, and perhaps 1 or 2 scoops of collagen protein. Imagine that breakfast. Loads of protein, wouldn't add a ton of carbs, and it would make him more satiated, more full, have more antioxidants, nutrients. It would be amazing. And so think of how simple that would be. He has his car, he could go to the grocery store, pick up some fruits. He already has the collagen protein, and so why not do that?
Considering the butter, a lot of people were talking about margarine and how bad it is for you. It's like cancer causing.
And so he's trying to debate what he should have, butter or margarine. One's cancer this, one's that, one's this. Have neither. Don't have any. And whatever one you're having, use less of it. I'm not saying you can't ever have it, but remember, he's on a diet and he's struggling to lose weight. Do you really think that adding butter is important? Is there nothing to add that would perhaps be a better choice, a better option?
I used to drink like so much juice, but Like, man, when I found out how many calories were in it, I had to make that choice.
And so although I've said Brentley doesn't know that much about nutrition, you can see he's learned a lot. He used to think that juice wasn't high in calories. He discovered how high it was in calories. And so he swapped from eating juice to drinking things that were like diet this, diet that. And so obviously, if you drink a lot of juice, which is high in sugar and calories, it's going to make it much more difficult to lose weight.
Like literally, when I got rid of full sugar soda and juice, I lost like 16 pounds, like lickety split.
The same information and logic can be applied to what he's eating. If he swaps from higher calories meals to lower calorie meals and is equally full, he's also going to lose weight. It really is that simple.
Gotta like calm down and like think logically, you know. I'm getting confused. I'm trying to fuel myself completely with willpower.
Exactly. I've told him you can't rely on willpower. He's trying to diet willpower alone. You don't have to do it this way. You have no idea how much easier it will be to lose weight once you have the knowledge and understand nutrition. It's so much easier than you actually think. And so please watch more of my videos, get my cookbook, or if you can, get the Circle Diet book. My life's work may take you 6 hours to read this, but I guarantee if you read this and apply this, you will know more than 99% of people out there. You will have an elite level of knowledge compared to the majority of people in the world. Anyone could say, hey, Brentley, you read Coach Greg's Circle Diet book. Tell me how to lose weight, and you will be able to explain it. It will make sense to you, it will make sense to them. This book, highly underrated. If you get the book, apply the information right away. It's not something that's going to take you a week to read. You read it in a couple days. You will be able to get started right now.
I'll like eat really responsible for 3-5 days, I don't know. And then I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then I absolutely just go hog wild. And then
this is the real Brently G. This is Brentley being 100% honest and transparent. All he has to do is be realistic with his goals and not follow a diet that he can't follow for the rest of his life. He needs to have variety. He needs to have foods that he enjoys, because if he doesn't, he can fight it through perhaps 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, but then comes the weekend and it's game over.
it's that health and then binge cycle, you know. It's a bit of an eating disorder. I don't know.
And so I don't want to put words in his mouth and I don't want to get demonetized, but anyone that gets over 574 pounds, what do you think that I think that they have? I don't think it's normal. But what I do know is he has the potential to lose this weight. He can do it.
You need to actually think about the science and whatnot. And I am by no means a scientist. I'm a moron.
And so he's being really honest and transparent here. I highly encourage you to watch this video, especially the last several minutes. I know so many of you can relate. He says, I try to white knuckle it. I try to use willpower. I try to do it on my own, but I can't, and I've failed. And because of that, I am in fact fat. I'm not making fun of him. I'm trying to help him. He's over 440 pounds. He knows there's signs to weight loss, and he says, hey, I'm a moron. I say that all the time. I don't know technology. I'm a moron. I have no idea how to use any of it. It's overwhelming. To other people, it's easy. Greg, do you know how easy it is? Just press this button, do that, and touch here, and you're done. I can't do it. And so for Brentley, perhaps very difficult for him to lose weight. Doesn't know what to do. Trying to help him. You are all trying to help him, and we want to see him succeed.
I think the future's looking good. I think things are going to do well. I'm going to be losing weight over the next 2-3 weeks.
And so he's lost 135 pounds. He's at a fork in the road. He knows he needs to make a difference. He can't continue to just white knuckle it. And so let's all cheer for Brentley. He can do it. And of course, the number one supplement I didn't hear him mention that I believe he should have, GO2 Max. This gives you more energy, backed by science. You've seen Andrew Huberman on the Joe Rogan podcast and others go into details on just how effective these supplements really are. Please click the link in the description. Code Greg, 10% off. Cookbooks, training books, the Circle Diet book, and of course, Brentley, have the Seco Protein Bar. Do you know how much of an amazing snack that is? You have all the HGLT supplements at your disposal. Please use them. We'll make your diet easier than last time. Don't forget, Code Greg. Click the link in the description. And also free diet and training program, first and last name and email address, all that stuff. And until next time, I'm out.